Sergio Studios. Extra.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Sergio Dominguez, and I just want to do a quick simple video of me talking about the design changes of the Sergio show over the last 12 years or more. So here we have two different Sergios. This was the first original puppet design Sergio from the first episode, which came out back in early 2008. And this is the current model puppet rig of Sergio from 2020. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of changes over the years. First things first, what I notice when I look at this is usually the hair and even the shape of the head. Because when I first designed the character, his original design was like 5 pointed hairs going down, this round bottom shape. What I was trying to do was trying to make, this design ultimately. But at the time that I made the first Sergio puppet rig, it was at a time where all I had was an old computer from the year 2000, animation software, and a recording device. That's it. No drawing tablet. I would end up getting like a Wacom bamboo tablet like a couple days after the first episode came out. So this is what you see here. And as you can see, it's very weirdly proportionate, and the outline is different each time. You see how this is much more straight edge and angular, while here it is like, I drew this with my right hand, since I was drawing this whole thing out with a mouse with my right hand when I'm actually left-handed. So as you can see, there's some things off about it. The head's a little bit too tall. The hairs have been a bit of a mess. Later on, I'm going to show you more about the designs of both the Sergios and the whole Sergio show set. When I did the first season, I kept this whole Sergio show set very simple. This is actually like there's an image that I drew. I drew the logo like this to scan it in, edit it in, believe it or not, Microsoft Paint. And that's the background. The background is just a JPEG image. Well, this was all vector-based, drawn directly into Toon Boom, using, the rectangle shapes, and just drawing with my right hand when, obviously, I'm left-handed. And I just want to give you a nice summary of the design changes from the first episode to currently, as of this recording, episode 200 and onward. Okay, here's another example of what I'm talking about with the changes of Sergio design over... Really, in this case, over this year, because look. Whoop. You see, these are 4 differently changed design Sergios over just within the first season. This is episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and episode 4. They kind of look similar from obviously a distance, but up close I'm going to show you some differences that I had to change. Because even after I made the first episode, I wanted to still improve the character and the set over just this season. Since, doing a show for me is new, especially animated, and there were still some things, especially within the Sergio design and the whole show's format, just a lot to look over and realize and find and search. So obviously the 5 little hairs going down, it never looked good, but I just moved on for this episode. Then after that I was like, okay, I'm going to get to episode 2, and that's where I tried to change it just slightly. You see, with the hairs going around here. But it wouldn't really be until 3 where I did say, okay, let me just modify it a little bit more. And it started looking really good, but it was still, puffy. And later on in the series, we'll get to it. But not only would I just redesign the hair a little bit, here's episode 4, but also would design the Sergio character completely. But we'll get to that really soon. Not only that, but the thing I've also was trying to improve on was the mouth animation, because I was setting it up really badly where the jaw would appear up and down from the bottom half, and to me it would look really weird. I mean, that's how we talk. Our lower jaws just move up and down and our lips move. But it didn't look good for me for this character and this design. So I did try to reposition it a little bit. Later on, I would rearrange the mouths, each one by frame, and it would come off looking a little bit better, as you can see from season 1 to season 4 of the show. But I didn't like the mouth positioned like this, like the regular smile position, just like all the way back here and going like this. It looks like a side mouth, and I'm not the biggest fan of like cartoons with like side mouths design kind of thing, so I would change that later on. So as you can see, some subtle changes, all within just the first 4 episodes of The Sergio Show. So here we are. These are a couple of Sergios within a couple of sets over the years of The Sergio Show. Now let's take a closer look. This set is from 2008. This set is from 2010. This set was from season 4 in 2011. This is also a set from 2011. We'll get to it, but yeah, this is also within the same year. And this is the final set from 2019, I think 2017 to now, 2020 and counting. But yeah, as you can see, the show sets had so many gosh darn changes, along with the Sergios, but I'm going to get to it right now. Like, I want to talk about the difference between the two Sergios right here. Now, like I said, this is from the first episode, so obviously it looked a little bit off. But I would change it just within the first season. So when we got to 2010, which was season 2, I did get to redesign it up to here, where it looks like that. You can see the 5 hairs pointing down a little bit more properly, and the head a little bit more rounded out, and even the nose got a little bit more refined. But that's what I did. I took the 2008 design and just changed it within 2 years, just subtly. But even then, there were still some details I never really noticed while even animating this. Like this outline that's just cutting off between the ear and the head. Because when I drew this character on paper a couple of times, it would just be, there wouldn't be a line here. So here's the thing. At one point, I spoke to my college art teacher about this design, and she recommended redesigning the character completely. And I agreed. So within 2011 was a big year for the show because I did redesign the character to this one right here. So I redrew the character for the most part in 2011 to this design. Now, I just focused on the head because, as you can see, this still looks similar. The torso, the arm, it still was the design from the early years of the show. But I redrew this. It looked more like the character I've been drawing the whole time. Maybe not the ear hole, but everything else looked good. It's a lot shorter, a lot closer to my original drawing concept for the character, and that's what became of this character. From 2011 to a couple years later, because there was a point where I was like, okay, let me refine this character just a little bit more, where you got to this one. Now, compared to the previous one, this is still similar, but I did refine a little bit more. There were like tweaks like here and some parts in the hair. I remember it was like the previous design again, but refining it, but it was already a more fully realized design. So it was just me cleaning up some things, even refining the nose. And also, same thing with the arm. The previous one was also, drawn from my right hand by a mouse, but here I did use some drawing tools to make this much more straight lined and cleaner, and you can see it here too. So this was both cleaning up and also redrawing. Like I redrew the arm. I even had to re-rig the arm. Because in the early years of the show, realizing what is the size of this character's arm and how does it look when it's rigged and moving along, and some problem solving, and I got to this. Now this is the current design. Again, just minor refining. I didn't do much. When it comes to designing the character and updating it, the only thing I would really update are the hands, because at some point there will be an episode where I wanted to have another hand gesture, hand pose, and I wouldn't have it in the catalog of hands. So I would just draw a new one and try to keep it within the character model for the foreseeable future. And that's it, a couple of tweaks, checking some rigs, and yeah, that would be the Sergio character now. So here are also the sets, and as you can see, it had a lot of changes. Alright, so the first original Sergio Show set, I wanted to keep it simple, so I was like, okay, just the Sergio Show on the sides and a white background, a nice square desk, and a little office chair right here, and that's the set of the show, you know. But that was within the first season. Episode 12 onward, I did want to go bigger, so I was like, okay, let me design it more like a talk show set. So I was like, okay, so what's in a talk show set? Obviously the desk, the chair, and also some buildings of the town that the show takes place, and that's what like Toon City. And also I want the show sign right here, so there might be a nice camera pan to the sign, to the outboard of the set, to the host. And also wanted some furniture, but I wanted to be, obviously cartoony, so I just made the furniture cartoony. Really adorable. Really enjoyed the designs. Some of these I drawn in Toon Boom using a tablet, but also there are some parts like this chair was drawn on a piece of paper with pencil, then inked over with marker, then scanned into Toon Boom and colored in, and that's how designs like this. And some of the buildings, this one was digitally drawn, this one was paper drawn. And that was a set for a couple seasons. But by season 4, I was like, okay, let me change some things. I wanted to give the town backdrop a break, and I was like, okay, I want it to look more like an animation studio. So with this one, I was like, I want him to sit on his talk show desk, but he also has an animation desk. So on his side, he can draw, and also have more animation related things like books. I do have a collection of pennies to this day, and also some more desks in the background, even though nobody else works here. And I also was like, let me add some animation paper windows. Make it a little bit more animation studio themed, like a little production facility. I love the design of the desks, but I didn't like the design of the studio. It was too dark blue. I did miss the buildings, and I wasn't happy with it ultimately after season 4, but I like some parts of it. So this is kind of the set of season 5, where I was like, okay, I want the Toon City backdrop, but I love the desks. But when I cut to me in this close-up shot, I didn't want the buildings to be behind me, so I did add a color right here, like this color-shaped frame. But it still didn't look good. So that was ultimately the change. So later on, I would change more to what it is right now. There we go. To this kind of design, which is the current design of the set. Also, I kind of realized when I was setting up this, you see this window frame thing? This beam was more in the middle. So for the longest time, there would be a beam behind me, my character, and it would look weird how the hair would obviously match the color of the frame beam, and it just didn't look good at all. So that was moved when I did the redesigns. So I also redesigned the furniture. I wanted the furniture to be not only cartoony, but also animation themed. So that's why you see 3 versions of animation over here in the couches. How it looks a little bit more cutie and also has a clownish look to it. This one I was like, I want one that has cup holders. That'd be funny. And I love the desk. The desk of, the second version of the desk. But I was like, let me just update the desk. Not only that, but also corrected the animation peg holes. It turns out I got the shape and order of the peg holes wrong. Mostly, I got the order of the peg holes all wrong. So I changed it later on. I did some subtle details to the set too. Now you don't see buildings in the back. You see the grass of like the sign backdrop, but still want it to be a little bit bluish. So there is like almost like this tinted window gradient see through transparent thing you see here from blue to light green. But you can still see the back. So there is a little bit more detail into this. But I liked everything else. I changed the font here. I like this model sheet here. Wastebasket of papers. And I finally grew comfortable. This is my favorite version of the set design and the character design of Sergio. Finally properly modified. All on this really nice looking base. And there you go. This is the current design of the Sergio Show set from 2017 to 2020 and hopefully in the future. And that'll do it with this special little video looking at the different designs and the design history of the Sergio Show. I just want to keep this simple, but hopefully give you a nice inside look to the little changes and what I've improved on over the years. So thank you very much for watching. I am Sergio Dominguez saying have an animated day.